Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater is one of the most acclaimed titles in the series, with its Cold War setting, new survival mechanics, and one of the more emotional stories in the franchise. With Delta Snake Eater released, with modern quality of life upgrades, fans and new fans can experience the game once more on modern consoles. From the origins of Big Boss to secrets behind the Cobra Unit, Ocelot, and more, the game is filled with details that shape the future of Metal Gear, and we'll be going through however much we can in 107 Facts about Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. Just a heads up, if you want to learn more about these facts, you can check out the source doc linked in the description below. And for context, I tried not making this solely 107 little details in Snake Eater, but if you want to see that video, let me know, because there's just so many little things in the game that crop up every now and then, and even I'm discovering new things 20 years later. Anyway, let's get started. Number 1. Like a tired father that just wants to rest, after the release of Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty, Hideo Kojima initially didn't want to direct Metal Gear Solid 3. Instead, he wanted a member of his team at Konami to be his replacement. Unfortunately for him, none of them wanted to take his place, effectively forcing him to change his mind and direct the game in the end. Number 2. Kojima originally conceived MGS3 for the PlayStation 3, however, since the console was still a ways away from releasing, development shifted back to the PlayStation 2. Kojima clearly didn't want to wait for the next console just to make MGS3. Number 3. The jungle setting for MGS3 was a clear departure from the previous two games, which mainly centered around military bases and interior spaces. According to Kojima, since the game was their second MGS for the PS2, the team wanted to do something drastic. He also stated that a jungle setting was something that the devs wanted and people of the industry wanted as well. Number 4. Kojima and the team took inspiration from real espionage missions when designing MGS3. The reason why the jungle setting is so prominent is because, according to him, real agents never get to start right outside the enemy base. They land hundreds of miles away, which is what Kojima wanted to depict. Number 5. Kojima asked character designer Yoji Shinkawa to design Naked Snake similarly to Solid Snake for obvious reasons if you know the story, however with one caveat. Naked Snake is more of a rookie, and his naivete should distinguish him from the more experienced Solid Snake. With that, Shinkawa essentially just revised his design of Solid Snake, which explains why they look almost identical. Number 6. Unlike Shinkawa's approach, however, to distinguish Naked Snake as a completely separate character from Solid Snake, his CG model in MGS3 was built entirely from scratch rather than reusing the MGS2 Solid Snake model. The new design included more joints and facial motion points, giving Naked Snake greater mobility and a wider range of facial expressions. Number 7. Leading up to the game's release, the identity of Naked Snake being Big Boss wasn't known, so Kojima would often give vague answers whenever asked who Snake was in the game. Number 8. Kojima and his team went on a field trip where they stayed at a hotel brainstorming ideas for the game while watching films. One of the films they watched that also served as inspiration for the game was Predator. Number 9. Shinkawa mentioned that the team always wanted to give the game a 60s flavor. Outside of the films, the team watched real documentary footage from the Vietnam War and even studied the lighting of the 60s. Number 10. Another example of these inspirations was the love scene and dynamic between Snake and Eva, which was inspired by 1960s spy films like The Pink Panther. Kojima and Shinkawa watched the film, and despite being inspired by it, the final version came out a little different than the inspiration. Number 11. The name Snake Eater has multiple meanings, with the obvious one being, well, you get to eat snakes in the game. And I'm not joking, Kojima actually said this in an interview. Of course, in-game, it's mentioned that it's because their mission is to take down the Cobra Unit. Number 12. The other meaning for Snake Eater refers to the survival-based gameplay and mission. Snake Eater comes from the US military slang, where Green Berets and other special forces are nicknamed Snake Eaters because of their survival training, which teaches them to live off the land by hunting and eating animals. Number 13. Because of all the new survival features in the game, Kojima designed early parts of the game to slowly guide you through each feature. Each segment in the early game introduces a new feature to the player, from changing our camo to the hostile wildlife and then the cure system. This ensured that people could learn these features one by one. Number 14. Another big change to the game is the switch from a radar system to other systems like sonar or AP system. Kojima noticed that in previous entries, players started to focus on the radar too often, turning the games into radar games. So to switch things up and have players use their senses, Kojima got rid of the radar entirely. Number 15. One thing that stayed consistent for the first versions of the game was the camera system. Kojima stated that since the game was originally wrapping up a trilogy, he didn't want to change the camera angle. He saw Metal Gear Solid as all about the top view camera, the corner view camera, and the first-person view camera, with the player switching between all three. Number 16. Kojima did give another reason for not changing the camera, and it was that if the camera was brought right behind the character, he would feel 3D sick while testing the game. He did promise that for a potential MGS4, the camera system might change. Number 17. Fans didn't need to wait for MGS4 to get a new camera. Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence, which is the upgraded version of Metal Gear Solid 3, featured the very first free rotating camera angle in the MGS series, and each installment since then has included this feature. The player can alternate between the two angles by pushing R3. Number 18. The jungle setting of Selinoyarsk is entirely fictional, with the name created by combining Russian words the developers researched. Selina, which means virgin soil or undeveloped land, Yar, which means cliff, and the suffix "sk", commonly used in Russian place names. Number 19. Snake Eater's theme song is, well, Snake Eater. Written by Norihiko Hibino and performed by Cynthia Harrell. Hibino has worked on several entries in the Metal Gear franchise, but has credits in other Konami published and developed games as well, such as Boktai and Zone of the Enders. Number 20. Cynthia Harrell, who sang I Am the Wind for an entry in Konami's other big franchise, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, returned to provide vocals for the Delta Snake Eater version of the track. Number 21. The song Snake Eater is often compared to title themes found in the James Bond films, and that's no coincidence. According to Hibino, Hideo Kojima wanted a James Bondish style main theme in the soundtrack. Number 22. While the song is synonymous with the game, Snake Eater wasn't always going to be the game's main theme. Hibino wasn't originally in the running to work on the main theme. Instead, other musicians, including composer and producer Rika Muranaka, were submitting tracks for Kojima's approval. Number 23. Muranaka submitted the track Don't Be Afraid as a potential main theme. Muranaka had previously composed The Best Is Yet to Come for Metal Gear Solid and Can't Say Goodbye to Yesterday for MGS2 Sons of Liberty. Number 24. Unfortunately for Muranaka, Kojima didn't find Don't Be Afraid strong enough to be the game's opener. Instead, it was given a spot towards the game's ending. Number 25. Hibino now had a path to create Snake Eater. Since Hibino knew what Kojima wanted, and being an in-house composer knew that they wouldn't need to spend extra budget on retakes compared to outsourcing, he decided to create the song himself, and thus, we have Snake Eater. Number 26. In an interview, Harry Gregson Williams jokingly said that he might return to compose this game's music if it's set in the Amazon. At the time, Kojima, who had already been planning a jungle setting for years, jokingly told Gregson Williams the idea came from him to convince him to return. He only admitted the truth once the music for MGS3 was nearly finished. Number 27. If Ocelot's tricks with his revolvers seem ultra smooth for a game of the time, it's because they were performed by a stuntman and recorded through motion capture. Number 28. Kurt Russell was offered a chance to voice Naked Snake in MGS3. Hideo Kojima drew heavy inspiration from Kurt Russell's Snake Plissken in Escape from New York and Escape from LA, even giving Solid Snake the alias Iroquois Plissken in Metal Gear Solid 2. In the end, however, he turned down the role, leaving David Hayter to continue the series' iconic voice. Number 29. For this game, Naked Snake's support team consists of new and familiar faces. Major Zero is your commanding officer overseeing the Virtuous Mission and Operation Snake Eater, acting as Snake's main support over the radio. Number 30. Originally, his codename was Major Tom, and the codename Major Tom is a nod to David Bowie's 1969 song Space Oddity, which tells the story of an astronaut named Major Tom. At one point in MGS3, Snake even asks, "Can you hear me, Major Tom?" which is one of the lyrics in the song. Number 31. The in-game reason for Major Tom's codename is that it comes from the film The Great Escape, where the prisoners in the film name their escape tunnels Tom, Dick, and Harry. Major Tom admits that he mistakenly thought Tom was the tunnel the prisoners successfully escaped through, when in reality Tom and Dick were the tunnels discovered by the Nazis, while Harry was the tunnel used in the escape. Number 32. In addition to Major Zero, Snake is supported over the radio by Sigint, a weapons and technology expert, and Paramedic, a medical specialist who explains survival techniques and often chats about movies. Both later play major roles in the series lore. Sigint becomes Donald Anderson, the DARPA chief seen in Metal Gear Solid, while Paramedic becomes Dr. Clark, the head of Foxhound's medical team responsible for the Cyborg Ninja Project. Number 33. Sometime in the game, if players call Paramedic to save while in a cave, the conversation drifts to the James Bond film From Russia with Love. Partway through, the Major interrupts, revealing himself to be a big fan of the movie, and he even suggests a few tongue-in-cheek Bond-style gadgets for Naked Snake to use. Number 34. Funny enough, in Metal Gear Solid 2 Solid Snake, Big Boss was modeled after an older Sean Connery. The mention of From Russia with Love, which stars Sean Connery as James Bond, holds deeper meaning since the game itself seems to play Snake in a James Bond-esque role. Number 35. The Virtuous mission is set on August 24th, 1964, which Hideo Kojima chose to align with his own birthday. The mission was originally dated August 24th, 1963, Kojima's actual birth date, but he moved it forward by a year so that the assassination of President John F. Kennedy in November 1963 could factor into the story's backdrop. Number 36. Metal Gear Solid 3 introduces players to a young Revolver Ocelot at the start of his career. One of his signature traits, the gesture that he does when he points two fingers like a gun, wasn't actually scripted. It was ad-libbed during motion capture sessions by Taro Kanazawa, the actor who performed Ocelot's movements. Number 37. Throughout Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake scolds Ocelot on things like trying out new techniques mid-battle and the unnecessary engravings on his revolver. These lessons definitely left an impression because Ocelot later echoes Snake's words to a Diamond Dog soldier in the Phantom Pain. Number 38. During the first boss fight against Ocelot in Bolshaya Pass, you'll notice that at the start of the battle, his revolver reloads are slow as he's adjusting to the weapons, but with each reload, his speed improves, showing him quickly learning and refining his technique in real time. Number 39. Moving over to one of the big bads of this game, Volgin. Volgin's chant when he first meets Snake, Kuwabara, Kuwabara, is a Japanese phrase used to ward off lightning and prevent bad luck, which is funny because he is literally a man with lightning coursing through his body and his very presence means bad luck, making this phrase very ironic. Number 40. On the helicopter carrying Volgin and company, we're introduced to MGS3's femme fatale, Eva. She's an ally who aids the hero but can't be trusted completely. According to Kojima, her character model was based on a gravure idol Kojima admired, which is likely Chisato Morishita, while her personality drew inspiration from Fujiko Mine of Lupin III. Number 41. Ava's lipstick pistol, nicknamed the Kiss of Death, was based on a real Cold War spy weapon from the 1960s that's displayed at the International Spy Museum in Washington, D.C. Kojima and his team had planned to visit the museum for research in late 2002, but the trip was cancelled due to the Beltway sniper attacks. Number 42. The English voice actress for Eva was originally credited under the pseudonym Suzette Minier. For 2 decades after the release of Metal Gear Solid 3, her true identity was a mystery, which sparked widespread fan speculation. A lot of people believed it was Debbie Mae West who voiced Meryl in the series, but she publicly denied the connection multiple times. Number 43. In November of 2024, Konami revealed in a promotional video for Metal Gear Solid Delta that Jodie Benson, who is best known for Ariel in Disney's The Little Mermaid, was the voice behind Eva. She explained that voice director Chris Zimmerman suggested using an alias since the sensual character conflicted with Benson's family-friendly roles. The pseudonym Suzette Minier was inspired by the name of Benson's childhood dog, Suzette Monet. Number 44. In the game, Eva rides a Triumph Tiger 100 motorcycle. This is a direct homage to Steve McQueen's bike in The Great Escape, which Kojima has cited as one of the key inspirations for the game's Cold War spy thriller aesthetic. And in the game, Eva's dramatic chase sequence on the Triumph mirrors McQueen's famous motorcycle escape scene. Number 45. If you leave the transmitter on your body when you meet up with Eva behind the waterfall, you'll get a very interesting cutscene of them trying to remove it. Number 46. Snake Eater introduces the Cobra Unit, the game's set of bosses for Snake to fight through. The members of the Cobra Unit are each named after emotions born from the battlefield. The pain, the fear, the fury, the sorrow, the joy. Their sniper, on the other hand, the End, was originally planned to be called the Doom, but the name was changed during development partly to avoid the association with Doom 3. Number 47. The leader of the Cobra Unit, the boss, formerly known as the Joy, and known as the Mother of Special Forces, is Naked Snake's mentor and central figure of Metal Gear Solid 3. The look of the boss was inspired by the English actress Charlotte Rampling. Number 48. One of the first Cobra Unit members Snake fights against as a boss is the Pain, the Cobra Unit's Hornet wielder. The Pain utilizes his Hornets to control grenades, a Tommy gun, and, looking at some voice files, a rifle at one point, but that's cut content from the final game. Number 49. Speaking of the Pain, his earlier line when the Cobra Unit was first introduced, "We are the sons of the boss," was intended to tie into the Sons of Big Boss theme that echoes throughout the Metal Gear series. Number 50. The concept for the Fear pulls from Predator, where optic camo and tree hopping is used by the titular foe. This connection is further reinforced in the Metal Gear Solid HD collection, where defeating the Fear unlocks the trophy/achievement, "If it bleeds, we can kill it." A direct quote from Arnold Schwarzenegger's character in the 1987 film. Number 51. If the Fear's arrows hit Snake, they actually remain visible on his body through the survival viewer. If the player doesn't remove them during the cure process, the wounds will heal with the arrows still embedded, and up to a maximum of 64 stuck arrows can be seen on his body for the rest of the game. And yes, even arrows left in Snake's head will stay. Number 52. The character of the End, along with the idea of the boss serving as Naked Snake's mentor, evolved from a scrapped concept in Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty. The unused character known as Old Boy, or sometimes referred to as Old Man, was envisioned as a 100-year-old former Nazi general armed with a Panzerfaust and acting as a mentor figure to soldiers, including Big Boss. He was ultimately cut from MGS2 because the developers couldn't find a way to integrate him into the story. Number 53. The End's boss design epitomized open-world stealth. It included tracking prints, sound, glare, and sun angles over hours. And funny enough, Kojima wanted the boss fight to last for hours, but was told that it was too unorthodox. Number 54. You can actually skip the battle with the End by just waiting it out. The End will literally die of old age if you save and return a week later, or you can cheat it a little bit by changing your system's internal clock. Number 55. If you don't want to do the clock trick, you can also snipe the End early when you first see him at the warehouse, skipping his boss fight entirely. By doing this method, the End's death explosion sends a wheel from his wheelchair flying towards the player and dealing damage to Snake. Number 56. One of the reasons why there are so many ways to kill the End is due to Kojima being Kojima and wanting to do things differently. In an interview with IGN, he stated that he wanted to do things you don't see in other games, and skipping a boss fight by killing him earlier was one of those things. Number 57. The cosmonaut of the unit, the Fury, once traveled into space as a cosmonaut for Russia. However, during re-entry, his capsule malfunctioned, leaving a third of his body severely burned. As a result of the accident, he lost the ability to feel pain. Number 58. During the fight with the Fury, looking directly at his flames in first-person view or through thermal goggles will temporarily burn Snake's vision, which turns the screen completely white and obscures sight until it clears. Players have to turn away to avoid being blinded during the battle. Number 59. The Cobra Unit's spirit medium, the Sorrow, was based on the appearance of American actor, writer, and director Ed Harris. Number 60. After the battle with Sorrow, there's a hidden first-person view that shows the Sorrow rising up to heaven. Number 61. The River of the Sorrow shows the exact enemies and animals you've killed in the different ways you've killed them. Up to 100 enemies can appear in the river. If you don't end up killing anybody, only members of the Cobra Unit appear. Number 62. The dramatic explosions that occur when members of the Cobra Unit die were inspired by kaijin characters from Japanese tokusatsu series, particularly the monster villains of the Super Sentai and Kamen Rider franchises, who famously self-destruct in a burst of flames when defeated. Number 63. Towards the middle of the game, we come to one of the most iconic moments in MGS3. The ladder sequence. It's often considered one of, if not the longest and most iconic ladder climb in gaming, and is memed to death online. Number 64. The ladder sequence is accompanied by a vocals-only version of the game's title track, Snake Eater. The track is perfectly timed to the climb, assuming you don't stop or slow down. Number 65. The ladder sequence returns in Delta Snake Eater, obviously. However, the vocals are replaced with the new ones provided by Cynthia Harrell. The timing of the musical cues don't quite match the original from what I've seen and experienced at least, but I'd like to be proven wrong. Number 66. Raiden's mixed to negative reception in MGS2 inspired Raikov's over-the-top characterization in MGS3. His resemblance to Raiden is even highlighted in a cutscene where Eva draws attention to him, followed by Raikov turning to the camera and smirking. He even shares the same Japanese voice actor, Kenyu Horiyuchi. Number 67. Raikov's full name, Ivan Raidenovich Raikov, contains the patronymic Raidenovich, which literally translates to Son of Raiden. This can also be interpreted as Son of Thunder, a phrase linked to the Apostle John, who along with his brother James was called one of the Sons of Thunder. Number 68. The other meaning to the Raidenovich name is a little less flattering. According to Kojima's director's commentary, the name Raidenovich serves as a pun. It plays on the phrase Raiden no Bichi, or Thunderbolt's bitch, referring to Raikov's submissive relationship with Colonel Volgin, whose codename was Thunderbolt. Number 69. Raikov's implied sexuality was also a tongue-in-cheek answer to Western complaints about Raiden's androgynous look in Metal Gear Solid 2. Number 70. At one point in the game, Snake's balls are grabbed by Volgin while disguised as Raikov, which is a reference to a similar scene involving Raiden and the US president in MGS2. Number 71. Raikov's underwear features a lightning bolt design, another direct nod to the meaning of the word Raiden, which translates to thunder or lightning. Number 72. When visiting Director Granin's office, you'll notice that it's filled with Easter eggs referencing both future Metal Gear lore and other Konami games. The radio plays the classic Metal Gear Solid theme, while Granin shows Snake design specifications that foreshadow Metal Gear Rex from MGS1. His office shelf is decorated with figurines of Rex, Metal Gear Ray from MGS2, and Jehudi from Zone of the Enders, and there's also a photograph of Granin with an American colleague revealed to be the grandfather of Hal Emmerich, the engineer of Metal Gear Rex. Number 73. The Guy Savage sequence is a hidden dream sequence in Metal Gear Solid 3. If Snake falls asleep in prison after he's captured and the player reloads their save, the game briefly shifts into a dark hack-and-slash segment where the player fights monster-like enemies in a completely different gameplay style. Number 74. Kojima initially denied the dream's existence in interviews, but later explained it was originally meant to feature Konami's classic Gradius. Instead, he and writer Shuyo Murata created an original concept that became the Guy Savage sequence. Murata even revealed that it was intended as a teaser or demo for a standalone game they were developing, though the project was never completed. Number 75. The Guy Savage sequence was exclusive to the original PS2 version of Snake Eater. It was removed from later releases such as Snake Eater 3D and the one in HD collection. Number 76. In Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, the Guy Savage sequence makes a comeback. This time, the segment has been reimagined and developed by Platinum Games, which expands on its hack-and-slash roots with their signature action-oriented style. Number 77. Let's go back to jail. A member of the Sasaki family appears in the game, continuing a Metal Gear Solid tradition. Johnny Sasaki's grandfather is the guard assigned to watch over Snake's cell, mirroring his grandson's job of guarding cells. How do we know this is Johnny Sasaki's grandfather? In a special cutscene, Snake and Johnny have a little chat where Johnny reveals that he used to live in America and had a wife and kids before moving back to Russia. All the first males in the family are named Johnny. You can also see that his balaclava is marked with the letter J for Johnny. Number 78. Funny enough, apparently Kojima stated that if the Soviet government had discovered the little-known fact that Johnny's grandfather had married a woman from the West, he would have been arrested. Number 79. Players can interact with Johnny in several comedic ways. You can throw rotten food at him, which will cause him to eat it, and send him running to the restroom, which echoes the family's infamous stomach troubles across the series.
It's coming out!
Johnny can also be tricked during Snake's prison escape by using the fake death pill, which makes him believe that Snake has died, causing him to open the cell door, leaving it open for Snake to escape. Number 80. The Shagohod. The concept of the Shagohod accelerating to 300 miles per hour before firing a nuclear missile was decided midway through development. Kojima's team considered multiple ideas, including a transformer-like craft or a WIG vehicle, before settling on the rocket booster and hovercraft-based acceleration system seen in the final game. This two-stage design was likely inspired by Cold War Doomsday prototypes. Number 81. According to Kojima's commentary, if players look in first-person view during a specific scene, they can spot an early Shagohod design sketch drawn by Yoji Shinkawa. Kojima explained that this blueprint was not Sokolov's version, but Granin's leaked technology, which served as the narrative link to the eventual creation of Metal Gear. Number 82. When fighting the boss at the fields at the end of the game, you can actually find 3 hidden snakes in the field named Solid, Liquid, and Solidus, which is a nod to, and I totally apologize for my terrible French, to the Les Enfants Terribles clones, or the Terrible Children clones. However, that's not all. Eating these snakes will fully replenish Snake's health and the required collectibles if the player is looking to earn the Marco ranking at the end of the game. Number 83. According to Kojima, the boss's sneaking suit was originally designed in blue, similar to Solid Snake's in MGS1, so she would stand out in a field of sunflowers. This concept was later changed to a white suit in a white flower field, creating the opposite effect and allowing her to blend seamlessly into the backdrop. Number 84. In the original version of Metal Gear Solid 3, when Snake aims the Patriot gun at the boss during the final scene, the screen shifts from widescreen to full screen, which is a signal that control had been returned to the player and they're no longer watching a cutscene. Now, I don't recall this being in the HD collection version of MGS3, but please correct me if I'm wrong. Number 85. If you enter first-person mode during the final cutscene, right outside the window, you can spot Ocelot doing his iconic gesture before stepping away. Number 86. In a departure from the Metal Gear series tradition, one of Metal Gear Solid 3's ending themes wasn't created in-house. Instead, Kojima Productions used the song Way to Fall by the British band Star Sailor. Number 87. The choice of Star Sailor came from a misunderstanding. A colleague at Kojima Productions had recommended the band Stella Star to Kojima, but he misheard the name as Star Sailor, and after listening, Kojima was drawn to the song Way to Fall and decided to use it as the game's ending theme. Number 88. Hideo Kojima revealed on his personal blog that his original plan was to use David Bowie tracks, specifically Space Oddity and Ashes to Ashes, as ending themes. He chose these songs to reflect the game's early space development themes, but later abandoned the idea when the concept lost significance during development. Number 89. For European releases of Metal Gear Solid 3, they had added new content, including a European extreme difficulty, dual mode that allows you to replay boss fights, and a demo theater that lets players rewatch cutscenes with different character models. Number 90. Metal Gear Solid 3D Snake Eater was a remake of MGS3 developed for the Nintendo 3DS, designed to take advantage of the handheld's unique hardware. It introduced stereoscopic 3D visuals, motion controls for aiming and balancing across logs, and touchscreen features for managing the survival viewer, maps, and inventory. The game also included new camouflage patterns that could be unlocked using the 3DS's photo-taking feature, letting players import real-world textures into Snake's camo system. Number 91. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater was officially announced on May 24, 2023 during the PlayStation Showcase and released on August 2025. It's built on the Unreal 5 engine, giving the game a major graphical upgrade. Number 92. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater includes optional visual features designed to capture the aesthetic of the original game. Fans can switch between different looks, such as retro-style filter that mimics the PS2's color palette and visual tone, alongside other filters that enhance the brightness and contrast for a more modern feel, or you could do monochromatic for a more classic feel. Number 93. Delta also adds two gameplay styles. Players can use a modern over-the-shoulder camera similar to later MGS titles, or stick with the legacy overhead view from the original. This lets both newcomers and longtime fans choose how they want to play. Number 94. A new battle damage system shows Snake's cuts, bruises, scars, and torn clothing in real time. These changes reflect the physical toll of surviving in the jungle and persist throughout the game, adding another visual layer that wasn't present in the 2004 original. Number 95. The remake introduces Fox Hunt, a new online multiplayer mode. Players use stealth and camouflage in a hide-and-seek style competition, expanding the series' tactical espionage gameplay into multiplayer. Unfortunately, this is not a new Metal Gear Online, and we'll probably have to wait for a proper new entry in the Metal Gear series for MGO4. Number 96. Metal Gear Solid 3 features the real-world calorie-mate energy bars from Otsuka Pharmaceutical as a stamina-restoring food item in the game, making it one of the series' most famous examples of product placement. The collaboration was updated in later HD releases, which swapped in new flavors, and returned once more in Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, tying the energy blocks to the game's marketing. Number 97. Outside of that, let's talk about MGS3 again. MGS3 has an item that gives players unlimited ammo. No, it's not the infinite bandana. In Snake Eater, you get the Infinity Face Paint, and you earn it by catching the legendary Tsuchinoko, and keeping it to the very end. Number 98. A special item, the Croc Cap, can actually be found at the Razfet Swamp area of Metal Gear Solid 3. It's located on a small island in the middle of the marsh, and the cap disguises Snake's head as a crocodile, which boosts camouflage in water and startles guards when he surfaces. Number 99. MGS3 includes the bonus Snake vs. Monkey missions, which are crossover stages with Sony's Ape Escape series, where Snake must capture monkeys that have escaped into the jungle using non-lethal weapons. Number 100. In the minigame Snake vs. Monkey, Snake asks Colonel Campbell to ask Gabe or Sam to carry out his assignment. This is obviously a reference to Gabe Logan, the main character of Siphon Filter, and Sam Fisher, the main character of Splinter Cell. Number 101. For Delta Snake Eater, Snake vs. Monkey returns for PlayStation and PC, while the Xbox version offers a Bomberman-themed mode that gives players a different playful nod to Konami's history. Number 102. As a way to complete the crossover, Metal Gear Solid Snake Escape appears in Ape Escape 3. Number 103. The Keraton frogs in the game are inspired by small collectible frog toys sold in Japan. Kojima added them as hidden Easter eggs. Keraton frogs became a recurring Easter egg in later releases, where they continue to appear as hidden targets with rewards for the players who found them all. Number 104. In Snake Eater 3D for the 3DS, the Keraton frogs, the Keraton title, and even the codec conversations about them with Paramedic were replaced by Yoshi from Nintendo's Super Mario series. This change was added as a crossover Easter egg, unique to the 3DS version, to celebrate the partnership with Nintendo. Number 105. Like other games in the series, you can unlock stealth camo, and that's done by shooting all 64 Keraton frogs across the campaign. Of course, you can't use it in your current playthrough, you'll have to use it in a subsequent playthrough. Number 106. In Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, the classic Keraton frog returns, but a new set of collectibles is also introduced, the Gakko ducks. Shooting all 64 ducks unlocks the AT Camouflage, a special ghillie suit that boosts the camouflage index of Snake's currently equipped outfit and adapts to the surrounding environment. The AT Camo, however, cannot be used with special disguises or unique suits, such as the sneaking suit or the stealth camo. Number 107. When asked whether or not he will be playing Delta, Kojima responded with a simple, "No, I won't." There is literally so much hidden in Metal Gear Solid 3 with so much commentary and other hidden details that I didn't even cover that would require more videos. So if you want more Metal Gear Solid content, let us know in the comments below. I am a huge fan, would love to do more, but really it's up to y'all fans. Also, if you're interested in learning more about these facts, you can check out the source doc in the description. Thank you for watching the Leaderboard, your home for video game facts. Peace!